Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to share with you my review of the movie Napoleon. If someone asks you about Napoleon, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it his victories? Is it his leadership? Is it his ruling? Is it his demise? Or is it his love life? Or is it his insecurities? Or is it many other things? If someone asks you what made Napoleon great, what comes to mind first? What stands out the most? If I'm being honest, his military prowess and leadership is what comes to my mind first and foremost. Of course, this figure is legendary, and even the biggest of his accomplishments have been covered from so many angles and with so many different agendas in mind, that it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction, but nonetheless possible with effort and dedication. So tell me, when you heard about the movie Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix coming out, what did you expect? I can share with you my expectations, and I would love to read yours in the comment section. My expectations can be split into two separate categories. Category 1. Based on the genre of the film being the historical drama, I was hoping to see a big-time Hollywood depiction of the war genius that was Napoleon Bonaparte. Given it's not a small studio release and not an art house project, I was expecting some basic explanations of some of Napoleon's tactics, why they were so different at the time and why they worked. I was also of course expecting some basic dramatic liberties. And category 2. Focusing more on the drama aspect and taking into account that Joaquin Phoenix was in the title role, I was expecting a very subjective, disturbed and provoking take on the legend of this larger-than-life individual, simply because there is so much written and so much will never be known about Napoleon's deepest personal secrets and life. I was excited to see a unique and provocative take. So on one hand, I was expecting a very loosely accurate historical war record highlights of Napoleon, and on the other hand, I was expecting a dramatic interpretation of his personal life. What did I get when I watched the actual movie? Neither. This movie does not attempt, at least to my eye, to depict a coherent take of Napoleon. It does not know how to portray his motivations, personal traits, intelligence, or his troubles. It seems to have little care for those. This movie shows a few of the key battles Napoleon led, but instead of focusing on why those battles mattered and how come they turned out the way they did, this movie is stuck in the depiction of battles, such as soldiers moving, heads rolling, and bullets flying. Considering the movie is titled Napoleon, the man himself seems to be secondary to the relationship between a poorly understood overachiever and a troubled lady. I don't necessarily think it's a bad movie. Boring and drawn out like many other ones these days, sure. I think this movie suffers from the runtime laziness big time. You can see how little care the director puts into making every minute matter, but I digress. I think it's a poorly titled movie. It should have been titled more specifically to the director's agenda, because he clearly had one. Maybe something like Napoleon: The Life Unknown. And it should not have been categorized as historical, as it's clearly a drama with zero historical value or accuracy in it, beyond the simplest and most general of facts. But given the movie title Napoleon, you raise expectations to their highest. And when thinking of a movie with this title with practically unlimited budget, I expect to see on the screen why the name Napoleon will never be forgotten in the human history. And that, unfortunately, is not what this movie chooses to focus on. The actual love story between Napoleon and Josephine, though is beautiful, is quite poorly and inconsistently portrayed for me to connect with and thus care about. And given that some of the most dramatic scenes are purely between the two individuals, I seriously question their accuracy or validity. Anyhow, to sum up this review, if your associations with the name Napoleon are anything like mine, then watching this movie will probably not bring you any enjoyment. It's a drawn-out, inconsistent and unfocused mess. And if you're looking for a subjective take on the love life of Napoleon and Josephine, then you might actually enjoy this. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you really do, subscribe and get notified whenever a new video goes up. I look forward to reading your opinions about Napoleon in the comment section, and do let me know if there is a movie you would like me to review. That is all I have to speak of today. a goodbye.